Hey guys, for this week's Crystal Room quest, they gave us Aranea Shinryu as the first stage. This is a fairly easy stage overall if you have a way to constantly break or re-break the enemies, and definitely there's always a few different ways to do that. But here, since I want to level the green crystal, what I'm doing is mainly relying on Iris's BT mode. Her BT mode causes the enemy's max brave stat to become 0, which means that they will sort of reset their brave once every 2 turns or so, allowing you to easily re-break them very often throughout the fight, allowing you therefore to bypass most of the mechanics, one of which is what you see here, that at certain thresholds the bosses will get this yellow streaky aura, and when the aura is up, until you inflict the break status on them, you'll be doing 0 HP damage essentially. So during the setup part of the fight, there isn't a lot of damage that's done, but that's okay because Raines will be doing quite a lot of damage later on in the fight. This is also the first fight where I'm featuring Raines and Fujin combo. Both of them are at force level 50, and I think it really does make a big difference. I've actually done the fight with only Fujin at force level 50, and then after that I realized that Raines can also be leveled to force 50, so I sort of reset the fight and read it again. Fujin of course makes for a great combo for Cid Raines, not only because of the very obvious synergy from her BT aura allowing you to get bonus on the launch smack damage, but the fact that Fujin's FR is more or less superior to Cid Raines' FR. This means that you can use Fujin's FR as the main and save both of Cid Raines' FR for the tail end of the fight. How is this relevant? Well, here I'm actually using Iris as I mentioned, and Iris and Cid Raines makes for a great combo as well, so there's really a lot of potential synergy going on here. In this run, Cid Raines' BT mode is not the main mode of damage, which sounds weird, but I'll explain more once I get into Cid Raines' BT mode and the summon mode after that. But one thing I want to mention here before Iris hands her turn over is, firstly, after the Lunafreya call, as you can see here, I did the BT+, so this is where I feed in her BT+. And here I'm using her LD to pass her turn while keeping the turn count at 0. Now as for who she targets with her LD, this depends. If you worry about getting enough damage in overall, what you can do is target Fujin with her LD. This way you can use one Iris Force Echoes before Cid Raines gets his turn. But if you do that, your run will be 3 turns instead of 2 turns overall. So now Fujin and Cid Raines will get their turns, and they each have 2 consecutive turns because of the quick prayer from the Lunafreya call. So this is where Fujin does BT+ and then enter into her force time. Also here on this stage, the one good thing is you don't have to raise the enemy's force gauge. The enemy's force attack is really pathetic, it only does brave damage. As for the enemy's force time, as long as they aren't getting turns, they really don't do anything in their force time. The one thing that you need to do once they use their force attack is to break them once. And like I said at the start of the video, this is extremely easy to do. Just with Iris's BT aura up, the enemies will keep resetting their brave anyway, so you'll be breaking them a lot of times, which means that overall their force time really does absolutely nothing with this party setup. So I'm coming to Cid Raines' turn, and essentially here I'm just doing BT+ into BT mode. The one good thing about having Fujin here is that before Fujin came in with her FR, you had to use Cid Raines' FR, and Cid Raines' FR will turn manipulate the rest of the party, which means that you need to wait for one full round of attacks before you can go into BT mode with Cid Raines. And really that's sort of like a slog, and you also needlessly increase the turn count. The reason why this run could be done in 2 turns overall is with Fujin's FR. Like I said, you don't have to use Cid Raines' FR, you can just go BT+ into BT mode. So Cid Raines starts his BT mode when you are only at 160% force gauge. But like I said earlier, Cid Raines' BT mode isn't really there for the damage, it's really there to help you build your force gauge very quickly. It still does somewhat decent damage overall, but the real damage comes in summon mode after this. Also, as I mentioned earlier as well, if you are a little bit worried about damage, when Iris uses the Lunafreya core and uses PT plus and LD, you can use Iris LD targeting Fujin, and that way you can squeeze in one of Iris FR to bump up the force gauge bonus by another 100% before Cid Raines starts its PT mode. I didn't do that. I had her target Cid Raines, and the only reason I did that is to keep the turn count at 2. So if you squeeze in one Iris Echoes before Cid Raines starts his turn, it will be a 3 turn run overall, but it will be much more lenient on damage. That would certainly be an option, if you are missing some of the ultimate weapons, for example. But as you will see later on, you don't really have to worry too much because the summon mode will really absolutely melt the bosses. Iris EX and Cid Raines FR does a crap ton of damage. Not too bad overall. The bosses are down maybe 20-30% of their HP, so still somewhat okay damage. But this is where the real source of damage comes in now. I pop summon here to keep the turn count at 2. Another option if you want to squeeze in a bit more damage is you don't have to pop in the Bahamut summon here. You can choose to hold off until Iris gets her next turn and pop summon then. If you do that though, then your turn will increase by 3 overall. But that is another option if you really want to squeeze in additional damage overall. So firstly here on Iris' turn, I use her echoes. There's no need to use her EX yet because the attack before this was Cid Raines' PT finisher, and Cid Raines' PT finisher doesn't actually do a lot of damage, so you don't want to waste your turn copying that damage. Instead, by using Iris FR, and here I'm using Fujin's FR as well, I get to pass the turn to Cid Raines and build the force gauge to 999% while keeping the force time turns at 2, which is perfect. And this is where the real damage comes in. There's 4 turns of summon remaining, so what I'm doing here is using Cid Raines Echoes, target Iris, then have Iris use EX targeting Cid Raines. The EX and the echoes from Cid Raines have turn manipulation. Essentially here I'll be denying Fujin her turn and I'll just be ping-ponging between Iris and Cid Raines. And in case you haven't used Iris before, the way her EX works is that it copies the damage that the last attack did. In this case it was Cid Raines FR at 999%, so it does a lot. And you actually add in the knockback bonus from Fujin as well, so Iris EX actually does more damage than Cid Raines' Force Echoes at 999%, which is really just bonkers overall. Because Iris EX turn manipulates, Cid Raines can use his Echoes one more time for massive damage, and because I'm in Bahamut Summon, Iris can actually use her EX once more. Bahamut Summon gives everyone 1 turn buff that instantly refills the EX meter once used. This is why Iris can fit in 2 EX back to back. Yep, that's a 135 million launch. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Crystal Room quest. Bye!